and Gio.
BT and Sal.
Kevin and Tiki. Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
On The Fan.
It's WFAN Daily, hosted by Pete Hoffman.
Welcome to another episode of WFAN Daily with your host, Pete Hoffman. Pete Alonso is now officially the top of the list for the New York Mets as all-time home run king. It was a big day for home runs overall. 9 hit New York as the Yankees hit 3, the Mets hit 6 in total. But it's about Pete Alonso. And the reason why this home run was such a big deal. First of all, Pete Alonso, he has been a Met his entire career. I want him to be a Met his entire career. I think it feels like he wants to be a Met his entire career. If all that is said and done, he will go down as a 500 home run hitter with the New York Mets. First ever. And with all the big home runs that Pete Alonso has really hit in his career, a lot of them were on the road. If you think about, especially the playoffs that just took place, a lot of those were on the road. A lot of the hits that he had were on the road. The big moments were on the road. 252 was on the road in Milwaukee. So the fact that he was able to do it at home in front of almost another sellout crowd, it was worth it. It was amazing. Kudos to him. And then he went on to hit another home run, 254, which was great. So now this number 254, is it all that fantastic? Let's break this down real quick. No, it's not. It's the third lowest in baseball for a team, for an organization. That only the Padres and the Diamondbacks have lower home run totals. So it's not that great. But this is the thing that I feel like most people are missing. If you want to have a great history, you have to create it. How do you think the New York Yankees got to where they are? How do you think they got 27 championships? How do you think they have so many guys who have, Babe Ruth, who had 711 home runs? Or, Aaron Judge to be where he's at right now, to break the record for, 62 home runs in a season for the National American League. To have those records, you have to be able to sustain success, and you have to build it. And the Yankees were at, and a ton of other franchises have been able to do it over their years. The Mets have been around since 1962. It's not a brand new team anymore. It's not the, Miami Marlins. It's not the Colorado Rockies. It's not the Tampa Bay Rays. It's not the, Arizona Diamondbacks even. This is a team that's been around for over 60 years. It's time for them to catch up. But in order to do so, you need a good ownership who is going to take advantage of moments like this. When you see somebody who is special that can create history for your franchise, you make sure he's around. And now I understand there's a whole there's going to be a battle all off season between David Stearns and Pete Alonso. But right now, what it comes down to is Pete Alonso, every home run he hits is getting closer to bigger numbers. And if he sticks around for multiple years, it's going to get even bigger. So that we don't have to look at this stat and say, that's not impressive. Yeah, no shit, it's not impressive. Okay, we understand it as Mets fans. Of course, we understand that 252 wasn't very impressive. It's not a big number, but this is why it's important to keep a guy like Pete Alonso around. And I'm not just saying, it's important just so that we can break records or add to a home run record. It's just one record. No, we want championships. But while you try to build for championships, having Pete Alonso around, hitting home runs and building onto that total is pretty nice too. Okay? It's pretty nice too. And I'm not going to sit there and say that Pete Alonso is the key piece to a World Series team, but to think that he's a negative on this franchise for the next, and even if the next 5, 6, 7 years, Pete Alonso being a negative is laughable. At the very least, you can move him on to a DH role at some point in time. If he can't play first base and he still has a big stick that can add power numbers. I mean, the guy's almost at 100 RBIs this year. He's still got, 45 games left or whatever the total is. He's going to blow past 100, no doubt about it. Hopefully 120, 130 RBIs. And now his home run total, I think he's at 28 now after he had 2 home runs on Tuesday's game. He should be able to get 35, 36 home runs, hopefully, which means he gets about, 8 to 10 home runs in this last month or month and a half. Regardless, Pete Alonso is someone who needs to be a lifelong Met. That's what it comes down to. And that's how you create history. You do have 2 other guys in Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto who are going to be around for a while too. Juan Soto, as long as he doesn't opt out of that contract, the Mets say, go somewhere else, Juan Soto most likely will finish with the most home runs as a Met when his career is all said and done. But he'll be passing Pete Alonso. And to do so, I'm hoping that Pete Alonso is upwards of 500 home runs. But in order for him to do that, he needs about 7 more years. He needs about 7 more years to play as a New York Met to do that. Is it the ultimate goal? No. But again, I'm sick and tired. If you're a Met fan today, you should be happy about this goal, about this achievement, about what Pete Alonso did. It should mean something to you. But all I do is hear people laugh about it. 252, what a weak number. Yeah. Yes, it is a weak number. It's because we've never been able to have, whether it's because of poor ownership who doesn't want to keep a player, can't keep a player, Darryl Strawberry, signing a player who ends up getting hurt, David Wright, or trading for players who are good, but they're not here their entire career. Mike Piazza, 220 home runs. That's awesome. He didn't last. He wasn't here his entire career. He came halfway through his career. Otherwise, he would have been up there too if he was a lifelong Met. But we don't have those guys. So you need to start somewhere. Now, the negative to this game, which there wasn't many negatives, because if you look at, obviously the 2 home runs from Alonso, Nimmo hit a home run. You got Beatty hitting a home run. You got Alvarez hitting a home run. It was a big day for the New York Mets as they actually pummeled the Atlanta Braves, which we kind of figured they'd do it. It's nice to win. They need to win more, and hopefully they could just sweep the series and get back into some winning ways and just win. That's what we were talking about yesterday with the Yankees, and we'll get to them in a second. They're beating up on the Minnesota Twins. They should beat up on the Minnesota Twins, and hopefully that'll kickstart them into a longer winning streak. You just need to start somewhere. So the Mets taking advantage of a terrible Atlanta Braves team. Good. Keep it up. I don't care. I hope you win tomorrow 20-1. Just keep on pummeling this team and get back into a groove, get back into a streak. Now, but the biggest problem is Clay Holmes started. And Clay Holmes has been piss poor. And I said it a long time ago. I said at the beginning of the season, Clay Holmes is not a starting pitcher. He's just not. And he's proven that fact again, that he is not a starting pitcher. I know that he had a nice stretch of getting close to 5 innings for multiple times, but he's not that guy. And it's not a knock on Clay Holmes. It's not a knock on David Stearns trying to experiment and trying to make that work. But it's time now to, shut up about Clay Holmes is, our 5th guy and we're going to try to make this work. No, it's move on from the situation, because there's only a month and a half left of baseball, and we're sitting over here trying to scratch our head of what's the starting rotation going to look like. And I'm sorry, but Mr. Big Boy David Stearns over here, promised a bag of goods that never arrived this year, at least. When it came down to Frankie Montas and Clay Holmes, those 2 backfired. And now we got to start talking about Tyler McGill back in the rotation and Paul Blackburn back in the rotation. I don't want to see that. I don't want to think about that. That sounds terrible. That sounds awful to me. And on top of that, too, besides David Peterson, you can't trust Sean Manaea. You can't trust Kodai Senga right now. So this pitching staff is up in arms. And I hear rumors, okay, yeah, good. Frankie Montas is in the bullpen now, which I still don't want to see. That I don't want to see either. But then you're talking about Nolan McLean or Brandon Sproat coming up here, which is great. But how are they going to pitch in the majors? Like, we don't really know. We don't really know how good they're going to be. We know what they've done in the minors, but we don't know what they're going to do up here. And now I'm not opposed to seeing this. Where was this in July? Why didn't you experiment in July with those two guys and push come to shove when the trade deadline comes around and you realize Holmes ain't it, Montas ain't it, and we've seen enough of Sproat and McLean to say whether they're good or not, you can at least make an educated decision. Now you're at a point in time where you got to make a decision quickly on what your starting rotation is going to look like in the playoffs if you make the playoffs. And it ain't looking so good. It's not looking very sexy. We're sitting there talking about three guys, Peterson, Manaea, and Senga, and only one of them is reliable at the moment. And the rest is a toss-up. So I'm sorry. Like, I know it's the day to celebrate, the Pete Alonso 254, but I can't get past the fact that this is what we got to deal with. This is what the Mets have decided to go to as far as their pitching staff, when you could have gone out and gotten started pitching. And I'm not sitting here saying Charlie Morton was the guy to go to. Get some of these old timers. No, I'm not saying that. You know who was? I don't know if he was available, but you know who I would have been knocking on the door for? Trevor Rogers in Baltimore. Now, I understand that Trevor Rogers has had a bad history recently, especially with the Miami Marlins. He wasn't pitching good. He had one dynamite season back in the day, a few years ago, and he had not pitched well since then. But right now, he is absurdly hot. And if they figured something out in Baltimore, and our pitching lab is as good as we think it is, that was a guy to key in on. And you want to know something? I know he has a little bit of control, but I would have went to Baltimore and say, you guys suck this year. You guys went backwards. You guys need help. We have a surplus of everything. You know, all those picks that you gave for relief pitchers, you know, all those picks that you gave for Cedric Mullins, prospects. It's not picks, it's prospects. So I know people get pissed off about that. But you know all those prospects you gave for the three relievers and Cedric Mullins? Well, maybe you could have given a ton of prospects for a guy like Trevor Rogers. Or a guy like Zach Gallen in Arizona, who the last two starts he's pitched have been pretty phenomenal. Like, where is that thought process? I understand that maybe Zach Gallen hasn't the best season this year. He's a free agent next year. And by the way, the closers or the relief pitchers you brought in are all free agents next year too. So it's not like you got somebody who's controllable. And I don't even care about control. I care about winning. I care about getting past the fourth and fifth inning these days with a low score and keep the Mets in game so they can actually win some here and there. And instead, you got a bunch of bums who can't get out of the fourth inning. And you should have been locked in. And if they said, listen, these guys are going to be expensive, guess what? You might as well pay. You might as well pay the price. Because this year, you never know if you're going to be able to duplicate it again. You say you're going to be good next year, but let's be honest. And I don't want to go down this road right now, but the Mets are locked into a lot of contracts. And a lot of position players and a lot of starting pitchers. And what are we going to do next year? It's all about relief pitchers next year for the New York Mets. So there's not this ton of wiggle room that you're going to be like, oh, there's a whole different team, or we got some new toys next year to put in center field or put at second base or put at first base or whatever the case is. I have no idea what this team's going to look like, but it's probably going to look very similar to what it is right now. And that's not good. That's not good enough, okay? So David Stearns screwed the pooch when it came to this past trade deadline. I will never deny it. Again, I gave him an incomplete, but after the first 12 days after the trade deadline, he got an F. He got an F. Great job building a bullpen. Got an F for the entire trade deadline. Now the Yankees winning 2 in a row. It's huge. They have a huge offensive output again. 3 more home runs, and Judge gets a home run, which is very nice to see because we haven't seen it in a while. And guess who stays hot? Guess who's on fire? Our boy Giancarlo Stanton. 4-hit day for Giancarlo Stanton. This guy, like, you know what? I say that every day, but I do feel this way. Like, he is just so impressive to me because I'm not sitting there saying he's agile. I'm not sitting there saying that this guy is like the you know, a younger version of himself who's just untouchable. He's fully healthy. No, I'm not saying that at all. But he is your prototypical DH. He gets up and he can just smash the ball. And you got to love that. That guy is ready for the playoffs, man. Like, you want to save him. You actually want to give him rest days. Hell, throw Aaron Judge out there. Let him play right field. You want Giancarlo Stanton to be as ready as possible for the playoffs because what he could do for you, how to carry a team, that's what he can do. Volpe hits another home run too, so it's nice to see. I'm happy for the guy. I think that the Yankees and Anthony Volpe, this story is very annoying to me because, and I'm not trying to beat the kid up. He's been getting hot lately with the bat, and that's very good. I think he's batting over 220 now. His OPS is batting over 700. That's good. It's got to be sustainable, and let's make sure the defense keeps it up. But I feel like the Volpe story is more of it's a good story. We need to make this a huge, huge hit as much as possible. Just keep on saying he's a local kid. It's a great story. It's sellable. And that's what the Yankees are looking for, sellable stories. I drove on the West Side Highway this morning, and I saw a huge billboard for Anthony Volpe. And all I saw was, that guy doesn't deserve that. Now, listen, does he deserve to make a ton of money? Does he deserve popularity? He's a starting shortstop for the New York Yankees. No doubt about it. Hell, good for him. Congratulations. I'm not picky. I'm not saying he shouldn't get paid and shouldn't take an opportunity. But if you think about what he's done so far in his career, to have an ad on the West Side Highway like that, I'm sorry, he's not ready yet for that. He's not at that point. Like, that's Aaron Judge all day. That's Aaron Judge all day. That should be Aaron Judge up on that billboard. I know you want to spread the wealth, and again, Volpe's a very nice story, and you put his face out there, and you make him, be bigger than life. Okay, I get it, but he's not that guy right now. He's just not. Maybe he can be, but he's not yet. But again, I'm not going to take it away. He did have a nice home run, so good for Anthony Volpe for recovering. And listen, he's going to finish above 200. Hopefully his OPS can be over 700 for the first time in his career to finish a season. Now, this is only his third season, but his other seasons were 666 and 667, if I'm correct. So this would be the first time that he's even above 670 to finish a season. So that would be very good for Anthony Volpe. But the team is not running through Anthony Volpe. It's running through Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. And that's what you got to remember. Those are the two guys that are the most concerned is for those two guys to make sure that they can stay healthy to just take control of this offense. It was also good to see Carlos Rodon go deep in a game, only giving up one run. So that was effective too. This is two really good starts to get for the New York Yankees with Will Warren and Carlos Rodon. Now, I understand it's the Minnesota Twins, and the Yankees are about like 1,032 and 26 versus the Twins. They just don't stop winning and beating the crap out of them. But this is the jumpstart. This is where you keep winning versus a team like the Twins. Eventually, like I said, I think I said it yesterday, I think I said it on this podcast too, winning is contagious. So just keep it up, keep on winning, and hopefully that will send the Yankees into a good trajectory to get back into the divisional playoff hunt. Stays in the playoffs, but you want to win that division. I'm telling you right now, I don't trust the Blue Jays. I don't trust Detroit. I don't trust Seattle, even though Seattle is scarier now because now they actually have added, some bats to that outrageously effective pitching staff they have. But Eugenio Suarez, if I'm correct, hasn't really done much offensively. So if he's flat and that's how he's going to be the next month and a half, that's good. That's a good thing for the Yankees. But it's maybe the Texas Rangers, could be the Cleveland Guardians that sneaks in there. You don't know what that last team's going to be, but I don't believe the only team that scares me, if I'm the Yankees, only team that scares me, it's not the Red Sox. It's the Houston Astros. That is the only team that scares me, and it's because of the scars from previous years. But they continue, and now they've got Carlos Correa back. And Altuve, continues. Every time he hears a boo, he puts another home run ball in the outfield. So they scare me. That's the only team. That is the only team preventing the Yankees from getting back to the World Series. Calling it right now. They are not losing to the Tigers. They are not losing to the Blue Jays. They are not losing to the Red Sox. They are not losing to the Rangers. They're not losing to the Guardians. They're not losing to who did I say? Who's in the the Tigers? I think I said the Tigers already. The only team they may lose to is the Astros. That is the only team I'm worried about. So if the Yankees can get right, they're going to be unstoppable. And it's not because they're a perfect team. We all know they're not a perfect team. But they just have enough of the better pieces to carry them. All you need is Giancarlo Stanton in the playoffs. He's going to carry you. All you need is your pitching staff to be who they're supposed to be on the back of the card. If you can get real innings from Will Warren in the playoffs, if you can get those type of innings from Will Warren and Carlos Rodon in the playoffs, with the bullpen that you secured, you should be able to shut out most teams in the playoffs. And I don't trust a lot. Like the Blue Jays, yeah, they've been on fire, but they caught fire at a wrong time. I don't think this is sustainable for them. I think it's going to backfire. Come playoff time, they're going to be a very easy out. So, all right. Again, congratulations to Pete Alonso on number 253 and 254. Congratulations for Clay Holmes for making me accurate that you are not a starting pitcher. I'm glad I got something right for a change because I say a lot of stuff and it doesn't always come true. But that's one thing that I knew is that Clay Holmes is not a starting pitcher. It sucks to be right on that one because the experiment failed and that's the guy that we're relying on. But it is what it is. Thank you for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily with your host, Pete Hoffman. Again, you can follow me at HoffWFAN. Please like, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. The best one, though, is Odyssey. If you want to download the podcast, whether it's WFAN Daily, whether it's Rico Bronya podcast, Unkillable, you name it, it's all on the Odyssey app. Plus, you can go listen to WFAN live. Whoever's on, whether it's Chris McMonagle right now or Keith McPherson or Boomer and Gio or Evan and Tiki or BT and Sal, Odyssey app is where you want to go. All right. Thank you again for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily, and I will see you guys mañana. Peace.